In February 2010, the Community University Research Alliance program funded a 5-year project, Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada. Led by Rob Wilson, a professor of philosophy at the University of Alberta, the project examines eugenics in Alberta and the West with an eye to contributing to contemporary debates in Canada on issues concerning disability, social inclusion, and human variation. Consisting of 24 academics, community activists, and sterilization survivors, our team works together with about 30 partnering organizations. Public engagement with, at times, difficult parts of our past has been a central part of the project's mandate. In 2010, Mayor Stephen Mandel proclaimed October 23rd, Remembering the History of Eugenics in Alberta Day. In 2011, the mayor went further by making the 9 days from October 15th through October 23rd Alberta Eugenics Awareness Week. This film provides an overview of that extended week and introduces you to some of those who organized the events and participated throughout the week.
Hi everybody and welcome. Tonight we're going to be having a screening of the sterilization of Leilani Mirror, and this is put on by the Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada.
I'm Moira Lane. I'm the project coordinator for the Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada.
My name is Rob Wilson and I'm the Director of the Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada project.
My name is Ben McMahon. I'm a RA, a research assistant for Rob Wilson.
In 1957, as a girl of 14, Leilani was surgically sterilized in the provincial training school for mental defectives. Now she's suing the government of Alberta for damages. After years of preparation, her case goes to court in just a few days.
The National Film Board approached me to make this film. I was honored to be given the responsibility to make a documentary that would expose this period, this treachery in Alberta's history.
I think it's an important week to have on the map for people in Alberta so that they can recognize some of what's happened in their own history and maybe come to appreciate how it's had downstream and ongoing effects for a number of people in our communities who might well be walking around with the rest of us now and have a history that most people won't be aware of.
Through that personal story, it became more than just information about an act. To the public, it exposed so much more, that it wasn't just a piece of history, that it was something that had an enduring impact and is still, as we all know, has an impact.
I'd really prefer if you wouldn't refer to me in those terms.
What terms?
Referring to me as a special case. It is rather ableist, you know.
I hate to break this to you, Rachel Jokes, but from my vantage point, your entire species is rather, well, challenged.
It's really important to talk about our history because the history pertains to some aspects of our modern culture. It pertains to the future. The history of eugenics pertains quite closely to a lot of modern issues that surround topics of disability and prenatal screening and that sort of thing. So I think we really want to raise awareness about the history in order to explore these contemporary issues that we have.
Your professors are here to help you pass university, but the
Students' Union is here to help you enjoy it. Join your club of choice
and make friends for life. Debate club.
Alpha Beta House.
Eco club.
I want to join the...
We're full.
We do have a Disabled Students Association. Why don't you join them? You'll fit in there.
I think it's important for the community to learn about eugenics because it is part of our history that's continually being erased, being removed from the history books. I think it's really important because I think that history informs a lot of our contemporary attitudes towards present day persons with disabilities. I think, you know, when we forget parts of our past, it's really detrimental to our overall knowledge and awareness.
So everyone, welcome. I'm Moira Lang. I'm the project coordinator with the Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada. So tonight we're going to have a series of short videos on disability and some discussion.
I wasn't supposed to live to see my first birthday. I wasn't supposed to be married. I wasn't supposed to go to school. I wasn't supposed to. I've done it.
Amen. Attacking her muscles and weakening them. What makes her so inspirational is that Danielle reminds us all how horrible it would be to be confined to a wheelchair like she is. And so now, without further ado, I present the 2008 Crip of the Year Award to Danielle Pierce. Danielle, you're such an inspiration to all of us.
I think it's really important to raise awareness about eugenics and the history of eugenics in this province for a few reasons. One is because basically people don't know about it. Everyone that I talk to, including interns that we hire and people in the community that we talk to, aren't aware of this history, and it's an important history.
I'm Moira Lang. I'm the project coordinator for the Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada. It is actually Alberta Eugenics Awareness Week from the 15th to the 23rd of October, and this is being put on by the Living Archives on Eugenics, and the project director is Professor Rob Wilson. And we're a 5-year project. We're in year 2, just about to start year 3.
I was really inspired by some of the events, the amount of people that showed up, the Person's Day panel discussion. We really had a large number of people present.
So, the basic facts. From the time of the Confederation of the Provinces in 1867, the British North America Act functioned as the Constitution of Canada.
And what it does, I think, and I think it does this in the person's case, is it's used to distinguish, in the human case, between humans who deserve one kind of treatment and humans who don't. Right? And person is used to mark that sort of boundary, even though in the vernacular we'd say, well, all these are persons.
And we brought in a bunch of scholars to talk about the history of the women's movement, in particular the Famous Five, and how these people were involved in the history of eugenics. So I think it was really important to kind of raise awareness about this and to reveal the complexities of the issues.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Today is an event that forms part of Alberta Eugenics Awareness Week. We're up to event 5 now.
I think some of the challenges would be just really getting the word out past, beyond the university campus, to get some more involvement from community.
The public forum today is entitled, Why is Alberta Eugenics History Relevant Today?
Probably what I'd like to see next year is probably some activities and events that are really targeted towards getting more community involvement.
If, like me, you believe that changing attitudes about disability is important, primarily because such attitudes play a large role in the discrimination and exclusion of disabled people. And if you believe that, as I hope to show, that studying eugenics can actually help to change attitudes about disability, then I think it's becomes clear why studying this history is relevant today.
There was the Sexual Sterilisation Act of Alberta that was enacted in 1928 in the province and was in place as law until 1972. That law provided for the sterilisation of so-called mental defectives.
I was made a ward of the government at the age of 6, and I knew I was going to be sterilized at the age of 10. I'm facing this, it's the end of my life. What I would do, just rip myself open and forget about it, and just forget about living, because it destroyed me as a person. I was no longer a person. As far as I was concerned, I'm still a number, I'm still an idiot, I'm still a moron. That isn't true, but that's how I was made to feel.
To understand why eugenics was wrong, I think it really helps to see that it was premised on this mistaken view of disability.
People have asked me, do you believe that you were retarded when you were 6? Certainly not, and I'm not today. And that's not going to change. I'm certainly not retarded, and I'm not feeble-minded.
This is something that reaches beyond the academy walls. I think this is really pertinent for all Albertans, really for all Canadians.
Okay, so we're going to start very small and informal. I'm Rob Wilson. I'm the Project Director for Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada. We have a team that's located at 3 universities. We have about 30 team members. We work with about 15 community partners, including the Alberta Association for Community Living and Neighbourhood Bridges locally in Edmonton.
Some of the challenges were just the logistics of organizing all these events. It was exhausting to be at an event every single day and to raise awareness about the events themselves. So just, getting people informed about what we were doing was difficult sometimes.
The way that this question, what does it read? Which of the following persons or groups advocate eugenics? And then you have choices. Okay, so you can click on, if you just click on the first one, Galton or Doug, say Galton, and then submit. So then you go to Galton and you get an answer to that question, or you get more information about Galton.
I think it'd be really important to engage the public again in ways that is not just a matter of talking. It's just not a matter of reading articles or things like that, but actually looking at stuff and exploring the ideas that way. You can almost think of it as kind of like floating encyclopedia entries. And the benefit here is that through the mind map, we can show sort of how these entries are connected to each other.
I think in the future we want to reach out to more people, increase awareness more, and try and spur on ordinary people in the community to have their own little input on what eugenics means for them in their own local niche. I appreciated a small session that we had that was focused on a petition that a local community member had independently brought several years ago to have Margaret Thompson's Order of Canada revoked. So today we're here for a session on Margaret W. Thompson, and it's prompted very much by the person on my far right, Rob Wells.
I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an academic, I'm not a professional, I'm not a member of any organization, so I'm very much a loose cannon, so I'm totally free to point the finger wherever I feel it's appropriate, although I try to be reasonable. So it does give me a freedom to be very objective about what I think is my conscience to do.
And that was because of her involvement in the Eugenics Board and her continuing sort of defense, I guess, of the need for the board to act as it did. And this came out during the Leilani Muir trial.
When this came out and I was aware that Margaret Thompson got the Order of Canada, I just felt I had to do something.
That was a really interesting discussion that we had with some students and other community members.
The sterilization of people who were not mentally handicapped, the castration of Down syndrome boys who were already infertile, not to protect the public, but for her genetic research. And that's what really appalled me, that this to me is the same kind of stuff that Dr. Mengele was doing, except maybe not quite on that same scale, but where's the conscience of the person involved in that? And how could it be that academics at U of A were not aware of that? It boggles my mind that this could be still going on after 1947, the Nuremberg War trials.
Oh, it's so quiet and peaceful here. I love it. I love it. It just warms my heart to know that somebody had thought to do that and gone out of their way to do it, eh? I love it. That's a memory you can never erase from your brain. And to come down here and see it, and thank Kate for doing that. Thank you, girl. Because I thought about, well, why hasn't somebody named a road or building after me?
She's going
and
big
somebody
now.
did. Somebody did the bridge, which is better because it's exercise and you have to walk it to see it. That's better. Yes. Like, I love this. I love it here, though. It's so
gorgeous.
peaceful.
It's gorgeous.
Kate, thank you so much, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
In particular, I think the art show was very successful. It brought a lot of people out, and because art is something that people can easily engage with, it really appeals to a lot of people, and it allows people to experience the history in different ways. So I think that was a very successful event.
They're reflecting on a dark history in our province, the history of eugenics. Between the years 1928 to 72, over 2,000 individuals were sterilized in the province of Alberta because they were deemed unfit to participate in the genetic social body. They were seen as medically defective, incapable of competent parenthood, feeble-minded, or otherwise undesirable.
For the art show that Anne Pasek curated was a highlight. We had representation from politicians, from community members, from sterilisation survivors, and some very powerful art.
I am one of the few politicians that are left in the Alberta provincial legislature who was there when the act that made Leilani a household word in Alberta was introduced on the floor of the Assembly. Although lots of Albertans, including one of the famous five, engaged in promoting eugenics, I'm proud of the way Alberta reacted to what was attempted to be done to Leilani and to others.
I was never a linear thinker, and so this is like a linear thought. The linear thought is lost in the folds of the clothing.
This project really is an interdisciplinary, community-focused approach that we need to address the legacy of eugenics in Alberta. The Collective Memory Project and the Living Archives on Eugenics in Western Canada are really driven by that university community engagement mandate.
What does this eugenic history mean to people now? Not, is this eugenics, is it not eugenics? Let's not argue about these merely philosophical kinds of questions, but let's think about how does it feel inside here when you hear about this history. So there are people who are actually younger than my mother who are still walking around, kicking around, who have actually lived through this history. So it's not just history.
They had a mentally normal person of normal intelligence living in this institution who was capable of coming out afterwards and writing a book about it. There have been many books written about eugenics. This will be the only one that I know of that's actually written by somebody who was directly a victim of the eugenics movement.
The PTS was said to be a training school for the disabled, which it really wasn't. It was for both disabled and normal children. There were a lot of other girls and boys there who were like me, children whose parents didn't want them. I found out from the nurses that my real name was Leilani, not Tom or Marie, as my family had always called me. I thought Leilani was a beautiful name. I was also given a registered number. I was a trainee, 1325.
I would say it's very worthwhile to sort of explore these ideas and to come out and to discuss the issue, because it's not just a matter of history, actually. It relates to many contemporary issues that we're dealing with. If you're at all interested in ideas of disability or prenatal screening or human enhancement, those sort of topics, I think discussing the topic of eugenics is actually very important.
Just encourage people to look out for it when it comes around next year, or this year I should say, 2012, October. We hope to have another mayoral proclamation for the week, and hope to see people there.